Is the next altcoin season upon us? If you guys been following my channel, you guys probably know that I've been talking about this alt season that has been turned on by that Bitcoin breakout at 110K. Right now, it looks a little uncertain, but I am still very long on this market right now on Bitcoin, on quite a bit of the altcoins here. I am still bullish on this market. My opinion has not changed about this market. I am still bullish, and of course, these are just my opinions, and none of what I'm saying here in this video is financial advice. But I'll show you guys why I think that is. Okay, so this is the I'm gonna take a look into some economics news, major crypto news that could affect the markets. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoins updates later in this video, but I would not skip ahead because Bitcoin is still what I pay attention to first before trading any altcoins. We're going to be taking a look into MOODEng. We're going to be taking a look into SwissBorg BORG USD or USDT, and BitTorrent coin, which is BTTC, later in this video. See what has happened in these markets, as well as updating their price targets if applicable. Let's go ahead and dive into some major crypto news first before getting into the charts. I'll give you guys my instant reaction to some of these. All right. First piece here is going to be by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin's hidden zone exposed. Why 105K matters more than you think. So, I see some significance of 105K. There's a little bit of there has been a little bit of resistance and support from previous price action, especially on the weekly time frame. That's especially noticeable on the weekly time frame, but I see some of these analysts calling for lower Bitcoin prices like 105K, 100K. Namely, I think I brought up a news piece here like a couple of weeks ago by Arthur Hayes that mentioned Arthur Hayes thinking that Bitcoin was going to go down to 100K. But then also a couple of days ago, there was a news piece saying that Arthur Hayes has actually bought Ethereum. So it kind of contradicts each other. So maybe he changed his opinion, right? On one of, because if you think Bitcoin's going to go down to 100K, I certainly wouldn't buy Ethereum at this price or a couple of days ago, right? I just got to think critically. And I think you guys should all think critically when, just listening or seeing some of these news headlines. Now, 105K, I think there's a low chance of Bitcoin going down there. I see people talking about 100K Bitcoin. I think that's a very low chance Bitcoin going down there. I think we have quite a bit of support that I'll show you guys later in this video on the charts. I also talked about yesterday that I see a huge bottoming signal. I will still mention that I still stand firm on that, right? I'm not changing my opinion on that, even though we have went down, some more since yesterday, right? Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here is by Be in Crypto. Bitcoin becomes Wall Street's favorite wild card. Yeah, I mean, ever since trading Bitcoin, if I find it very hard to trade stocks, right? It's just I feel like with Bitcoin, it's just a lot more pure technical analysis. And if you guys been following my channel, you guys know that I've been true to just using mainly technical analysis when trading. I mean, I take a look into some macro news, especially when it comes to the Fed, lowering rates and the probability of lowering rates and so on, especially this year. But mainly I focus on technical analysis. If you guys been seeing my videos, you guys would know. And I think Bitcoin is much more pure in using in I think technical analysis is a lot more reliable when it becomes when it comes to Bitcoin or other cryptos, right? Other altcoins as well. Especially when compared to stocks, because with stocks, there's other things going on like earnings calls, uh, earnings. right? Other things that could affect their markets, right? So yeah, I do think Bitcoin has, ever since trading Bitcoin, I just love the volatility, and of course the crypto markets as well, especially the altcoins. All right, next piece here is by Market Watch. Bitcoin has surrendered a rally. Why it didn't bounce after a whale unloaded the cryptocurrency? Um, this is definitely a little bit bearish tone here. I don't think Bitcoin has surrendered a rally. I think we're still very early in the rally. Based on the monthly RSI reading, we're nowhere near the FOMO levels of 2021, 2017. I mean, do we have to get there? No, but is there anything telling me otherwise? I don't think so either. And on the weekly time frame, we have just broken out of that cup and handle pattern just a couple of weeks ago in July. So I think we're still very early in this bull cycle. I think the altcoins have a lot more room to run. Of course, I will tell you guys when I change my opinion because as a trader in this market, I am open minded to both sides of the trade because nothing lasts forever. Not bull cycles, not sideways price action, not bear cycles. So I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion, and of course, most importantly, why. All right, next piece here is by Crypto News. Michael Saylor's strategy adds almost 3,100 Bitcoin in $357 million purchase. Well, this is it's a small purchase, but of course, this is more bullish, right? And of course, if you guys know Michael Saylor, he's been bullish. Um, and I'm with him on this camp right here, right now. Next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin bull run over at 111K. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. So this is at least somewhat interesting because even though it has a bearish tone to it, he's at least listing some points for me to think about. Okay, let's go over some of these points. All right, a huge long liquidation event brought 110K back into play as a new CME gap becomes a hope for bulls. I do think this level that Bitcoin is at right now is a huge support level. There are a lot of reversal signals. I would point out to you guys, and I think you guys should learn these signals. It's applicable to uh, other altcoins, the crypto markets, a lot of other markets as well. So I'll point that out to you guys, and I do think this 110K level is very significant in many ways that I'll point out to you guys right now. Bitcoin whales are under scrutiny after a giant rotation from Bitcoin into Ethereum. Yes, so I do think that this Bitcoin dip has been a rotation into altcoins, right? We have seen Ethereum surge past over 4,900. That was basically uh crushing the previous all-time highs before getting a rejection. I do think Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin as long as Bitcoin holds above 110K with weekly candle closes, monthly candle closes, right? That is basically the line for the bull cycle. If Bitcoin actually breaks through those with weekly candle closes and above, then that's gonna put this bull cycle in jeopardy, and I'm gonna have to rechart the situation here. But as long as Bitcoin can hold above 110K on the weekly time frame candle closes, Ethereum should be able to follow Bitcoin's lead and break above its all time highs. And then next is going to be altcoins, which is total 3. All right, next point here is small holders remain in accumulation mode. And analysis reviews, unlike whales, so small hodlers are still accumulating. Okay, so that is bullish. The latest Bitcoin price action has resulted in the talk of the entire bull market now being over. So, I still don't think. I think it's far from over. I think we have quite a bit of bullish things happening in the market, including a very likely Fed rate cuts in September. Okay, let's just take a look at the CME watch tool, which I've been showing you guys today. We are still at 86% in favor of a rate cut in September. That is bullish for the risk-on assets. Fed's preferred inflation gauge is due again as market doubles down on rate cut bets. Yeah, like I said. Now, Bitcoin's price weakness sparks talk of 100K retest. I think that is very. I think that's a very low chance of happening. I'm not saying 100%. Nothing in this market is 100%, but I think that's a very low chance of happening. There's just too much support between the price action now and 100K, and let me show you guys why. So we have that 110K support. This is the weekly time frame, right? Cup and handle pattern. We broke out of it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, could we come down all the way to 110K here? I mean, we already kind of did, right? Today at about 110K.5. So that is the next key support right now, right? If that does not hold, then the next key support I'll be looking at will be 107K, which is basically the weekly moving average, weekly 21 SMA. The blue line that's coming up pretty quickly, and as time goes on, that's gonna come up further. So I mean, which as the weeks go on, as it comes up further, that 105K support becomes less likely because I expect this moving average to be pretty strong support. Now, I talked about this yesterday on this daily time frame here, which is basically, there's quite a bit of bullish divergence that is very apparent on the RSI right now. So I talked about a huge bottoming signal here is because Bitcoin broke out of this falling wedge pattern. Price target out of this pattern would be about 121K. Okay, this breakout here is still valid because the price action is still above this upward trend line. And even if Bitcoin actually ends up closing at about, on this daily time frame, at about 112.5 or even lower, I think there's a high chance that Bitcoin has another bullish divergence signal here because in order for Bitcoin to actually beat that RSI reading of 40, it is at 43 right now. It does have to make a major dip. So if you guys know what I'm saying, like, it has to beat the RSI reading of the previous bounce here in order to avoid a bullish divergence signal again, which usually indicates a bounce. So this is why I think this is going to be very strong support range here. Okay, so that's basically what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. I know it was a very long talk, but it's definitely very important for the altcoins because if Bitcoin dumps, the altcoins are going to be dumping with it. Okay, let's go ahead and go to altcoins now. All right, we're going to take a look into MOODENG, which is the meme coin first, and see what has happened in this market since the last time we've talked about it, okay? Let's take a look into the weekly time frame. I think that was where I left off. Or even a lower time frame here. 3-day time frame. Okay, MOODENG. Price target. It broke out of it back in June, okay, late June, and the price target here would be about 29 cents for MOODENG. Still valid, right? The price action is still above that breakout point or that upper trend line of the pattern it broke out of. That was a falling wedge pattern. Let's take a look into the daily time frame. Daily time frame here. Falling wedge pattern again. Okay, this one broke out of it back in August 6th. Price target would be about 22 cents. Let's see if MOODENG gets there. Price targets are estimates only. There could be more. There could be less. Now, since the breakout here, it has been on a little bit of a downtrend, which is not uncommon to see out of falling wedge patterns, especially if you have quite a bit of moving averages that are acting as resistance above the pattern. Now, very important for MOODENG to actually break out of this upward trend line, and you know why? It's because if it doesn't, it could form a falling wedge pattern, which looks like it could, or there could be a double bottom here, right? So very important for it to break out of this upward trend line. Otherwise, there is a possibility that it could continue further down and form a falling wedge pattern. That is just an early guess. So this is basically what I'm seeing for MOODENG. Let's see if it can hit that first target of about 22 cents, and before hitting about a 29 cents price target. Otherwise, the next key support here I could be looking at least on this time frame, could be the daily 200, which is at about 12 cents, right? All right, let's go ahead and go to SwissBorg and see what's happening in Borg USD or USDT. It can be very similar. All right, SwissBorg, right here, falling wedge pattern. Definitely a pattern you guys should definitely get to know, because it's the most common pattern, in my opinion. If you guys start charting these candles, it's very simple. It's very effective. Okay, as you guys can see, they have been breaking out to the upside. Price target for this breakout here that has happened back in late June for SwissBorg, price target would be about 38 cents price target. It is trying to stay on top of some of these moving averages as support, including the weekly 200 SMA at about 25 cents. Okay. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame and see if there's any other patterns to be talking about. So SwissBorg, very important for the bulls to break out of this upper trend line. Otherwise, it could look something like this, which is a falling wedge. That means there's going to be more consolidation. It could be on a little bit of a downtrend on this daily time frame as well, right? So something to be looking out for. Let's see if it can break out of this upward trend line before heading towards that price target. All right, let's go ahead and go to BitTorrent coin, BTTC. See what's happening in this market here since the last time we've talked about it. BTTC, I think there was a... So last time, I did not see a falling wedge pattern here, okay, on this weekly time frame. I don't have exactly 3 candles touching on this bottom trend line here or the upper trend line, but I think on the smaller time frame, the candles get a lot closer to the trend lines, and in my opinion, that is going to be fine. That still validates a falling wedge. Okay, so let's just talk about that bigger falling wedge real quick. Zoom out. If BitTorrent can break out of this pattern here, let's just say at this point, for example, price target would be about 0.0, a lot of zeros here, 0.000, a bunch of zeros, and 30. Okay, that's gonna be the price target. You guys can read that yourself. Chart it yourself as well, and constantly refresh the charts as new data comes in, because that could change the picture. So this is basically what I'm seeing for BitTorrent on a higher time frame. Let's talk about from within the pattern. That's also important, because I want to get more clarity on what this price action could be doing. Could it actually be trying to break out, or could it be breaking down? Because I've seen falling wedges break down as well, even though they're more likely to break out to the upside. Now, this one falling wedge, again, from within the bigger falling wedge, price target out of this one would be about a bunch of zeros and 12. Since then, it has been consolidating within the mid section of this bigger falling wedge pattern. So this is basically what I'm seeing for some of these altcoins and this overview of this crypto market. Let me know if you want to continue seeing any more of these coins by dropping a like, comment, subscribe, or any other coins in this market. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. I'll see you on the next one.